Thank you, Sylvester. In our plan, we propose that in the short term, energy efficiency in all three areas will be targeted, meaning residential, commercial, and industrial. This will be done by the statewide energy agencies. Secondly, success of Californian case studies in energy efficiency should be mimicked to an extent in other states by 2026, as far as building codes are concerned. These codes will be established based on the region and climates, and they will address the 6 questions: what, why, who, where, how, and when. As can be seen from the picture on the right here, we propose achieving energy efficiency in the encircled area which have the maximum impact in the beginning. Areas which are underlined here, like duct insulation, CFL lighting, and water heaters, form the low-hanging fruit in which energy efficiency can be achieved. This infographic is taken from the McKinsey & Company study done in 2009 to unlock energy efficiency for the US economy. In the short term, state utilities will provide tax incentives for building improvements in energy. This is feasible. For example, APS has provided tax incentives for consumers with demand response programs in the past. Next, city land use and zoning policies will be promulgated by statewide energy agencies. This will reduce energy wastage resulting from poor land use. A lot can be saved if energy efficiency is improved for appliances and lighting. For example, $13,500 worth of savings can be made for freezers alone, as shown by the picture here. According to the McKinsey report, operational savings from energy efficiency come up to $1.2 trillion for the US economy. Next, 3 important steps for transportation. Number 1, we are stressing more conveniences for public transport, especially in large urban conglomerations. Number 2, CAFE standard of 34.2 miles per gallon for all light-duty vehicles is another aspect to focus on. Also, a move toward a higher gas tax is needed. Number 3, translate maximum trucks and city bus fleet from gasoline to natural gas, biofuels, and ethanol. We also propose energy efficiency expansion by implementing smart grid tools, like demand response programs and advanced metering infrastructure. Finally, we propose using public awareness campaigns to encourage shifting to vertical dwellings. Continuing on to the medium-term plan, we recommend maximizing distributed generation resources and making advances in buildings with built-in renewable technologies like rooftop solar photovoltaics and wind turbines. Next is the translation of research and development from labs to real-time monitoring of home energy management system and control, or HEMS, via mobile apps and devices. Advanced metering will be a standard feature by this point. City designs would be similarly changed. This would include denser inner-city dwellings that are more connected with public transportation and are less intensive on light-duty vehicles. Cityscapes will also change when DOE incorporates its energy efficiency patents in building development. Like the figure on the top right here, DOE calculates savings of up to $167 billion for American businesses. Research and development on advanced materials for buildings and vehicles. This means using HVAC and LEED developments for 75% of all buildings. There will also be a 10% increase by 2041 in hybrid and electric vehicles. In the long term, roughly a quarter of all residential, commercial, and industrial buildings will adhere to federally established regional and climate building standards. This would include appliances, lighting, and capital equipment. Education campaigns will bear fruit and tax incentives will continue. This will see major shifts to inner-city dwellings and extensive public transportation. Inner-city areas will be mostly void of light-duty vehicle traffic. Americans will hopefully express their personal mobility preference in non-motor modes of transportation. Now, Nathan will talk about environmental sustainability. Thanks, Nathan. In the short term, infrastructure will need to undergo 2 major transformations. First is the formation of the Federal Agency on Energy Supply, Efficiency, Environment, and Infrastructure, or FISE for short. Secondly, is a clear and effective governance of energy and education. To cover the basics of the structure of FISE, this agency is intended to be similar to the Fed Reserve, as you can see by our effort to deface its logo here. This agency will have a board of governors, statewide energy agencies under 8 regions, and an advisory council. Its primary functions will be to manage energy supply, efficiency, and environmental sustainability, and the soft and hard infrastructure. More details are explained in the plan. FISE will organize states and will develop a regional long-term plan to invest heavily in electricity infrastructure updates at the state level. This would incorporate a system of nodes of distributed energy resources like solar, wind, and hydro, if feasible. Complex measures for security from physical and cyber threats will be included in the infrastructure design. FISE will work with state utility commissions to develop rate structures that will encourage businesses and residents to adopt distributed energy generation. In conjunction with the new rate structures, immediate deployment of transactive energy, demand response, and advanced metering infrastructure would begin. Under effective governance, FISE will require each state to assess its own clean energy potential. Then, a regional perspective would be taken. The assessment done by each state will also explain how much it can contribute to a surplus for other states within the region. FISE will work with state governments and utility commissions to incentivize residential and commercial solar projects. It will also work on land use management and adaptation, and on improving energy education infrastructure from the grassroots level. For this, it will collaborate with statewide energy agencies and their public schools on integrating energy education in the K-12 curricula. In the medium term, i.e. till 2041, investments will be made in some areas: the electricity infrastructure, expansion and regulation of some smart grids, and building of nuclear power plants with a bipartisan Congress support. Also, a sizable portion of investments will be made in managing regulation and overhead expenses. Construction of natural gas pipelines and power plants, as well as distributing vehicle credits and improving public transport. The American Society of Civil Engineers, ASCE, the American Petroleum Institute, API, and the Department of Energy, DOE, will collaborate with statewide FISE agencies for interstate and regional upgrades and optimization. State-to-state agreements for energy purchases will be enacted and followed. The result would be an improved energy infrastructure from a dismal D to a healthy B. As the picture here suggests, both hard infrastructure, like the power grid, and the soft infrastructure, like public perception, would be considered as opportunities to work on. For long-term infrastructure developments, investments will be made in the expansion of renewables, safe and continued use of nuclear power plants, as well as grid integration. FISE, DOE, and FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, will develop a flexible system of nodes within the states with smart grid technology to have it reach out to all 50 states. This will strengthen the electricity infrastructure. Cost analysis and the how-to guides are outlined in the detailed plan. Interstate relationships and connections will forge energy alliances and solve environmental issues like hypoxia that span geographical boundaries. Lastly, the role and authority of FISE will continue to evolve and change over time to meet the changing national energy demands and infrastructure. Going ahead with this plan, we believe America can be optimistic for its energy system. This is it from our end. Thank you very much.